Welcome to another episode of Question Everything. Today, we are live with none other than Dalin Espinal. Dalin Espinal is a business growth and belief reprogramming coach and consultant. And if you've ever witnessed, some of you watching right now have witnessed the power of what Dalin is capable of. And she has this incredible ability to take what's blocking you from where you need to be and removing it so that you can actually get there. Dalin, I said long overdue, but what is... No, we're going to start with this. Most people do struggle with overcoming their limiting beliefs. Why is it that they struggle with becoming this, but overcoming this on their own?
Okay, so I think, Gregory, before we even figure out why are people having a hard time overcoming limiting beliefs, let's briefly say what are limiting beliefs. First of all,
really good point, because it seems to be thrown around so much. Limiting belief. What is a limiting belief, Dalin?
Exactly. So before we get into that, when you get abducted by aliens, okay? Okay. So before we get into what's limiting beliefs, I want to say this. For almost 15 years, I've been hearing people saying, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change. You need to overcome your limiting beliefs. Beliefs are the ones that are guiding your life, and everybody talks about it. Mm-hmm. And then for years, I was like, okay, everybody's telling me to get rid of this, but I don't find like people actually guiding me step by step how to eliminate them. Like we all agree that beliefs are important, right? Yeah. Okay. So that was my experience for many years. I was like, can somebody just show me how to eliminate them? Okay. Right. So beliefs, anything that we think is true, it doesn't mean it's true, right, but we think it's true. It doesn't matter that it's not true. If you and I think it's true, it might as well be true.
Right.
Because we believe it, right? So then when a belief is limiting, it's just something that's not letting you be. It's not letting you be who you are. It's not letting you be who you can be. It's not letting you do whatever. It could be in relationships. It could be in money, in finances, in business. It could be in your relationship with your children. Just something that is stopping you from having the best result possible.
So but it isn't. Mm-hmm. Sorry, go ahead.
No. So it's something inside of you that you think is true. Mm-hmm. It might be in a level of thinking that is not very superficial. It could be very, profound inside your mind, but you think it's true. It doesn't matter if you know it or not, right? So then that becomes true for you. So if it's limiting, it's not letting you have a good relationship with your children, with your wife, with money, with your health, with your body, just anything that is hindering. The truth makes us free. So in whichever area of life that we are not free, that we're not experiencing freedom, is because there is a lack of truth reigning in that area of our lives. And lies are in the position. So they're limiting us. They're stopping us. They're like a self-imposed cell. You're like in a cell that you impose on yourself, and it might as well be there because it won't let you get through,
Yeah. I mean, so what I'm hearing is a limiting belief is literally what it sounds like. Any belief that we have that is not truth, that is limiting us from what could really be in our lives or anywhere, right? It's kind of like, oh man, you know how you try to think of something in the moment and then you don't have one in the moment? Money is the root of all evil. And so a lot of people will say they don't like money or they don't do anything for money. And then they go into work 40 hours a week and struggle and, try to get money to pay their bills. Well, obviously you love money enough to spend most of your time going to get it. And something's paraphrased, right? Like money is the root of all evil, but it's the love of money that's the root of all evil. Money is not evil. Money is just energy exchange. If you put out enough energy, money will come. Money is proof that you've served someone. So that's really good that you've broken this down. Now we know what a limiting belief is. Why do most people struggle?
Okay, so we'll get to that.
Overcoming those, because we try to overcome it on our own, but it's almost like we can't see the forest for the trees. We can't see ourselves coming.
Exactly. So first of all, from my personal experience, finding first, how do you find your limiting belief? Like, how do you find, because they're not things that, like, the people that say that money is that believe that money is the root of all evil, they don't usually just say it. It's not like they're saying it. So it's not so much conscious, it's more subconscious. Yeah. So first of all, to overcome a limiting belief, you have to find it. If you don't find it, you can overcome it, number one. So knowing how to find it, the formula that I like to teach is believe, be, do, have. Like, most people have heard about be, do, have, right? But I added believe before it. Most people put believe inside the be, but I broke it down. So have is the results you're getting. So for example, let's say, to give you an example, I don't have a lot of money. So that's a result, lack of money, right? Doing, what is the doing that is guiding me to have a little bit of money? Well, that I'm my own asset. Like, I don't have any more assets. I'm my only asset. I exchange time for money. So time is limited. There's only a limited amount of money that I can get. Bills are faster and money goes out faster than it comes in. So then I'm going to have a little bit of money. That's just like pretty much the doing, right?
Right.
Doing, you're exchanging time for money. So you cannot have a lot of money, right? Because you don't have a lot of time. So then what is the being? The being that takes you to do that doing is you are feeling that you have to work for money, that you have to exchange your time for money. And you are feeling that a job is the best thing, to, like, the safest thing for you. So you feel safe. You feel safe in a job. So you get a job. So you have a lack of money. Okay. So what's before that? What are the beliefs before that? It could be, I cannot do anything other than get a job. That's a belief. I cannot do anything other than get a job. Having a business is a lot of work. Being rich will bring me a lot of problems. So for a person to find what they believe, they have to ask themselves, or it's better for you to have someone ask you, because when you ask yourself, and then I guess this is the answer to your question. Why is it so challenging? Number one, people don't know how to find them. Because to find your beliefs, you have to ask like annoying questions, and you've experienced this with me. When I'm drilling you with questions, you're like, didn't I already answer that? I'm like, no. And then I ask you again. So
it was very interesting, because I knew of limiting beliefs for other people. I can catch when someone else's language is limiting them like that. But for myself, I didn't even realize that there's some beliefs that I thought I had addressed, and I just addressed a symptom, right? You had a way of knowing that what I'm saying isn't really, it's an excuse for whatever belief. Like, it's one root off of the branch of the roots that hold that belief in my subconscious. And you would just question everyone, scrutinize it, because truth can withstand scrutiny.
100%.
But a lie has to die when it's challenged.
Exactly. It shows itself. It shows its true colors. So number one is knowing how to find the limiting beliefs, which you only find them by asking and asking and asking. And the question I ask, it seems simple, but it's, how do you know? Because the mind wants to answer the questions that is presented, right? So when I ask the person, how do you know this? For example, the person says, if I get rich, if I become rich, I'm going to stop being myself. And this person wants to be themselves. They don't want to change. So even though they're pretending that they want to be rich, at the same time, they subconsciously don't, because they believe that if they become rich, they're going to stop being themselves, and they don't want that, right? So I asked the person, how do you know that if you become rich, you're going to stop being yourself? And that's when the mind is going to start pulling all the reasons that it has. So imagine that that belief is a folder, it's a file folder. And then inside that file folder, there's a lot of evidence. Okay. What the mind considers to be evidence for believing that that belief is true, to believe that that fact is a true fact. So then when you ask the person, how do you know this is true? How do you know this is true? The mind will start spitting out. And one belief, Gregory, you've seen this, can have 15, 20, 25 reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. And they all support it. And I loved your method because I'd never seen it done this way before. And so you're kind of taking us right into the next question I had for you. Like, what is it about your approach to belief reprogramming that makes it so unique and effective?
Okay, so like we said before, truth makes you free. Okay?
Yes.
And truth can bear scrutiny. What I have found with my approach, different than anything else I've seen, is that I will scrutinize anything and everything you tell me. Because anything and everything you tell me, I have learned that it's important. I cannot ignore it. So I think that in my method, nothing stays behind the scenes. Nothing can hide. You know, everything, all the reasons you have to believe that belief, they're going to come out. Yeah. Because I'm going to drill them out. So imagine the belief is like it's like a, ¿cómo se llama? How do you say? The trunk of the tree. You know, the belief is the trunk of the tree. And then all the roots are the 25 reasons, 30 reasons that you have to believe this belief is true. I will pull all those roots. I will pull them out. And sometimes, Gregory, I don't know if you've experienced this, maybe in one of the group sessions, one root that is like a supporting belief, sometimes it's not just a reason, but it's a belief in its own, on its own. So then imagine that root has one root that is thick, and then that root has a lot of other roots. So what I do, even if it takes me 2 sessions, I can tackle a belief in a session, but even if it takes 2 sessions, I will not let any of those little roots down there. Like, we'll pull them out. Once they're out, that's it. Because it's like the cat is out of the hat. Like, you cannot, once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And then I forgot one thing, Gregory, from your first question. Another reason why it's hard for people to do it on their own is because we have the beliefs inside of us, and we are energy, right? We have, and everything is inside of us is energy. So each of our beliefs, imagine they're like entities that are alive, and nothing that is alive wants to die.
Oh,
nothing that is alive, unless it's crazy, right? But nothing that is, or has mental problems, right? But nothing that is alive wants to die. Everything that is alive wants to live, right? So when you try to tackle the beliefs on your own, the beliefs are going to do everything and anything possible to discourage you, to interrupt you, to not let it happen, because they don't want to die. That's another reason why it's difficult. And then what was your other question?
What makes the approach so unique and effective? And you said that it's questioning everything. That's what I heard. Question everything, which is, that's right up my alley. So
I know.
And you touched on this already, how limiting beliefs can impact someone's ability to succeed in business or life or relationships, or even in health, right? There's some limiting beliefs that keep us from getting healthy. What are the ramifications of this? I know for myself, I can say that before we did our first session, where, what was it? I'm not good enough, or
the first one, I think it had to do with
my father.
With your father.
I'm just like my father.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was. And I thought I dealt with that with therapy and, you know, becoming a father and being there for my kids, I thought that was just dealt with, right? But there are still things that, like, for example, I have not been able to write a song about my kids, period. And I think that the belief that I was like my father kept me from ever expressing any kind of emotion or getting really close to my kids. Like, I was there, but I don't think I was as good as I could have been. And to see, like, I'll just jump straight to the part where you question so much that the only thing left was the truth. And then the charge became, you need to have a conversation with him. And when I say I haven't cried that much, even with EMDR treatment, for those of you watching that don't know what EMDR is, it's eye movement desensitization reprocessing. It was the best therapy I had ever found up until I met Dalin. And they needed a machine or like headphones on your ears that did bilateral stimulation with sound, and these little fobs that you held in your hand that buzzed from right to left. Dalin has the right to engage your right and left brain with just her words. It's mind-blowing to me that you don't even need equipment for this, and it's still powerful. So it seems so simple, right? Just a question. The power of a question, though, it has the ability to change everything. So from your perspective with the people you've worked with and your own story, right? What is the impact of a limiting belief? Now, I love your story because it really breaks it down in a relatable way, but I'll let you tell that. I won't tell it.
Okay. So the impact of a belief. So for example, you know, when we worked with you, the belief I am just like my father, there's nothing wrong with being just like your father, unless you believe your father is X, Y, and Z, and they're all negative, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes a belief is hiding another belief. So for example, the belief was I'm just like my father, but the real belief was my father was a terrible person and I don't want to be like him. Right. You know, something like that, but with other words, right? So then when I questioned and you were able to see that he was just lost in the world, then there is no judgment for a person that's lost in the world. Instead of judgment, now you have compassion.
Right.
And when you can have compassion, then the way you see and relate to the person totally changes. So another thing that I believe God has helped me to see when a person says something that they're really hiding another belief behind it. And that's part of the program, of the way I do this. But in my life, the impact of a belief. So, you know, the story when I was little, and I'll try to say it really quickly. When I was little, I made a belief that I was ugly. I made the belief that I was ugly, and I also had the belief that men only love beautiful women. So the way I got this belief was because of 3 instances that happened in my life, 3 experiences, and then what I said to myself about those experiences, what they meant. That's how we make a belief. Something happens. So for example, your father leaves and never comes back. Right. So you say to yourself, I said to myself, I must not be important enough for him to stick around. Because we want to know what things mean. And if nobody gives us a meaning for something and nobody guides us how to, when we're little, you know, a lot of us just raise ourselves. So we're just talking to ourselves, right?
Right.
So then you create a belief, you know. So somebody told me your name is the opposite of your sister's name. My sister's name is Linda. So I'm like, oh, the opposite of my sister's name, Linda, means beautiful. So then that must mean that I am ugly, you know?
Wow. Yeah.
So that was one instance. Another instance with my father, you know, I said, Papi, isn't it sad that your prettiest daughter doesn't speak English? I was just kidding, because to me, my sister was the prettiest and I was okay, you know? So then he said, no, Denise speaks English. So he answered about a daughter that he had in New York that nobody knew. So he said, no, she speaks English. So I heard Denise is number one, Linda's number two, and you probably are number three, if anything. That's what I heard.
Wow.
And then the third one, I told my mom, Mommy, aren't I beautiful? Because she would never say that I was beautiful. So one day I got the courage to say, Mommy, aren't I beautiful? And she said, yes, like a sol de primavera, like a spring sun in a summer evening. Like a spring sun in a summer evening, which is part of a poem. And she was trying to be poetic and funny at the same time. I left the room and I said to myself, spring sun in a summer evening. There is no spring sun in a summer evening. That means my beauty is non-existent.
Wow.
That's what I said to myself.
Yeah. And it makes sense, right? Like that's the way our young minds work. And so limiting beliefs seem like they are ingrained in our formative years. And so there may be people walking around right now that don't even realize why they're doing something anymore.
Exactly. And so the impact, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's.
I'm going to say that. I'm going to say the impact of that in my life. So what happened was, so all my life, I was like, so then I told myself after that third strike, I told myself, Dalin, don't worry. You didn't come to this world to be beautiful. So you must be here for something else. So I just, put it aside. I how do you say, sweep it under the rug. Mm-hmm. And I forgot about that topic. But what happened was that I believed, because of the way people were in my life, that men only loved beautiful women. And to me, beautiful women was not me. So then that led me to believe that no man could truly love me. So then that led me to not even want to have a man in my life. Wow. So impact, right? So until I became like, I don't know, 20, 21, 22, I'm like, I want a family. I want children. I didn't even want a husband at that time. I'm like, I want children. So I said to myself, Darling, if you want children, you need a husband. So then I opened my mind to having a husband. About a year later, I get married, and it was terrible because I could not say I love you. I couldn't say it. I just couldn't, because I didn't believe anybody could love me. I didn't believe any man could love me. And I believed subconsciously that any moment, any man that was in my life was going to leave for a beautiful woman at some point in time. So the impact of my life, that was years and years of being imprisoned by the belief that no man could love me. I divorced my first husband. I got into another relationship. The same thing. I could not believe that he loved me. I got out of that relationship. I would leave them because I don't want them to leave me, because of other beliefs of abandonment from my father not sticking around and not feeling that I was important enough for a man to stick around. So it's like beliefs can guide and shape and direct your whole life. So that was in relationships. Yeah. Three men later, I'm not ashamed, because it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Thank God that I can see it now. And thank God I'm no longer like bound by those beliefs, right? Yeah. So that was the impact in my life, in relationship, which impacts then to my children, because now I have 2 daughters, from 2 different fathers, and they didn't grow up in a family, in a complete family, because my beliefs did not allow it. Number 2, impact in finances. I started a YouTube channel many years ago, and I said, I know I need to go online. I know I need to show my face. I know I need to put content. This was 10 years ago, Gregory. I put that video. I put that video on YouTube. 10 years later, it took me, because I had not worked on those beliefs. So I was in YouTube for 10 years, 1 video in 10 years. So what impact did those beliefs, that set of beliefs, those 2 beliefs cost me? I would say maybe millions of dollars, because if I would have continued 10 years later, where would I be now? You know what I'm saying? But anyways, yes, a belief can shape your whole life and affect you not only in one area, but it can affect you 2, 3, 4, every area of life.
And man, it's really sad to think, like, I know a couple people in my life, I won't mention any names, that you can just see it, right? You can see that there is something that everyone else sees greatness in them. Actually, I'll put myself in that category. Everyone else can see greatness in me, but for some strange reason, I can't show up and be the leader I know I can be because there's still something blocking me that we have to address. But what are some common signs? Like, what are some telltale signs that someone needs belief reprogramming and doesn't realize it? I can see some, like, someone being amazing on camera and amazing with people, and then like self-sabotaging and going to hide in a corner or saying that I can't, or, it's just like the actions don't match the personality and the energy. That's what I see for myself. But I want to hear it from the master.
No, exactly. Any disconnect. When you see a person, and we from the outside can see, like, we can see each other and we can see each other's greatness.
Right.
For example, people would tell me, when you have a belief, it doesn't matter if people tell you the opposite. It doesn't matter, because what makes the difference is not what I say to the person, is what the person is saying to themselves is what's making the difference. So when people are stuck in any area of life, when they want to do something, but they can't get themselves to do it. If you want to do something or you have a dream or a desire, it's because God has put it inside of you. Yeah. And if God puts a desire inside of us, it's because we're capable of achieving it. God would not tease us to give us a desire that we cannot attain, right? Yeah. But the problem is that we believe what we believe. So I'll give you this example in parentheses. I believed that I was ugly, right? So people would randomly walk up to me and say, "You're so beautiful." I would say in my mind, this person feels sorry for me, so they're telling me this to try to help me feel better.
Wow.
That's what I was saying to myself. And I could tell you that throughout the years, I don't know, people would randomly walk up to me in different occasions and tell me that I was, women and men. It wasn't only men and it wasn't only women, it was both. And I would say, wow, that's interesting that so many people feel sorry for me, that they feel that they have to tell me that I'm beautiful so that I don't feel so bad about myself. That's what I would think. And then when I had my daughters, when people started telling me with my first daughter, "Oh, she's so beautiful," you know what I would hear? I would hear, Gregory, "How did such an ugly woman have such a beautiful daughter?"
Oh my goodness.
And then when I had my other daughter, people would say, "Oh, they're so beautiful." I would hear it louder. I would hear, "How did you have two beautiful daughters?" Not one, two.
Wow.
I have to laugh now, but this is not funny. It's funny now. Wow. It's funny now, but it was years. Okay. So what was the question, Gregory? Because I can go chasing rabbits.
No, it's okay. So you're answering it, but like, what are the common signs that people need to reprogram their beliefs, but they may not realize it? And I think that you're speaking to some souls out here where there's people that continuously find toxic relationships, for example, because they don't believe they're worth it, or someone that is in a manual labor job because they believe they're not tech savvy, or they're not that kind of person. They work with their hands only, right? And when I believed that the only thing I could be was a server, the only thing I was a server, right? But as soon as I realized that you can climb the corporate ladder and you can make six figures even without a degree, and I saw other people that were doing that, that changed my belief enough. Like, I borrowed other people's beliefs.
Exactly. Yeah, that helped you because you saw evidences and they were around you, and certain things came to play a role for you to move in that direction. So evidences that people need belief reprogramming, anything that's what I was saying. When you have a desire for something and you're not able to get yourself to do it, let's say you want to be fit, but you can't get yourself to exercise. There are beliefs that you have that are not letting you exercise. Let's say you want to be rich, but then you keep on fighting. Something is holding you back. There's beliefs that don't want you to be rich. It doesn't matter if you know them right now. Look, when I worked on because I did attempt, and I was able to work on some of my own beliefs, which was very difficult, but I was able to do it. I found that I had beliefs like, if I get rich, people are going to want to borrow. Everybody's going to want to borrow money from me. And another belief, I cannot say no to my friends and family. So if you believe you cannot say no to your friends and family, and you believe that if you're rich, everybody's going to want to borrow from you, you are thinking that being rich is not going to be so fun. Right. Because then you're going to have to be saying yes to everybody. Next thing you know, you're not going to have any money, right? That's the one thing leads you to another one. Also, for example, another belief could be, if I'm rich, then it's going to be dangerous. People are going to want to like steal my kids or something, you know?
Yeah.
If you have that subconscious belief, you're going to not want to be rich for real. Like your body is not going to want it.
Right.
Even though your mind.
You've always believed that rich people are evil and that they do nasty, dirty, corruptible things to get money, and they just trample over people to do it. I've met so many people that are rich now that are actually helping people, that it's starting to remove that belief that, you know, if I'm rich, it's because I did something negative or horrible, or I'm a nasty, dirty person, right? Or
exactly
selfish person. So exactly. Yeah, that's wow.
Exactly. So signs, anything, if you feel that there's anything, for example, just being on camera, like I told you, for 10 years, I was not able to get myself on camera because I believe those beliefs, and I wanted to. Sometimes I would put the camera, I would buy a tripod, I would buy, ¿cómo se llama? How do you call it? Mics. I would buy mics.
Yeah.
And I would go to the park, and I'll be like, I'm going to record. And I would sit there, and then I would go home with nothing, you know? And I did that at least a few times a year. I tried to record. Sometimes I would record and then I would delete it because I'm like, I don't want people to see my face. So if you're stuck in any area of life, you have beliefs that are not letting you do what you want to do.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like there's so many videos in the last year, and I don't know what it is about this last year particularly, but I record a video and then I'd scrutinize the heck out of it. Like, I don't like the way I said this. I don't like the background. I don't like that it wasn't that. I think now that I just said that out loud, the more you know, the more it kind of makes you feel like you're not enough. So like, I know how, to make a video the right way. So now I'm not just going to make a video on a whim and post it because it has to be polished. It has to look good. It has to have these elements in this order. It has to lead people to a thing. It has to hook people in. And it's like, if I don't do all those things, which feels like a big roadblock between me and getting out there, then I'm not even going to turn the camera on. Or if I do, I'm not going to post it because I feel like it has to be perfect. And I think that's a recurring theme for me in my life is when I learn something, even if I was good at it before, if I learn that there's a structure that I have to follow, I don't like following structure. And so I will not do it at all anymore. And it'll take a while for me to find my own way to implement that structure. Like Toastmasters was an example. I was great at speaking on stage in front of people, performing my music on stages. But as soon as I found out that there was a structure to speaking, and I found out that I rambled and went all over the place and said things that weren't meant to be said that didn't relate to the point, I was like, oh, I'm horrible at this. And then it just made me like shy away from speaking.
Right. So in what you just said right now, you said two beliefs.
Oh, I knew it was coming.
So, because a lot of times we say, I feel, and right after I feel, you say I believe. So for example, You say, I feel it has to be perfect. So the belief is that it has to be perfect because it has to be perfect. Is it a feeling? Is it has to be perfect a feeling? Is that a feeling? It has to be perfect. Is that a feeling? But is it a feeling?
No.
It's not a feeling. It's okay. We all do it, Gregory. We all do it. We all say, I feel. And then instead of saying sad, hungry, tired, We say, I feel I cannot do it, or I feel it has to be perfect. So that's a belief.
Whoa.
Okay. If it's not a feeling after I feel, it's a belief. So you said, I feel it has to be perfect. Now we take that belief and then I ask and ask you and ask you, how do you know? Because you probably have 15, 20, 25 reasons how you know that things have to be perfect. As soon as we pull those beliefs out, then you will no longer feel or believe that things have to be perfect. And then it won't matter how much you know, because if you no longer think that it has to be perfect, if you no longer believe that it has to be perfect, then you are freed to do things however you can do them.
You know, I feel like I no. I was about to do it again. Gail said, hi, Gail. Thanks for watching. She said perfectionist, and then you went right into that. So thank you for the engagement. I know that it is time for us to work on that belief, because I didn't even realize I was there. And now I'm questioning myself, like, how many beliefs are keeping me from my destiny? Like, just how much is there?
We have a lot, but this is the good news, Gregory, because I was like, when I started working on my beliefs, I was like, oh my God, when will this ever end? And then I'm like, the good thing is each belief. Okay, have you seen when you do this thing where you put your hand and if you're lying, the hand goes down? I forgot the name for that. Kinesiology or something like that. I don't know. The thing is that if you lie, if you say my name is Maria, then my hand will go down. If I say my name is Dalin, then my hand will stay up, right?
Oh, yes. I've seen the one where it's like, I can't. And then, they push your hand down, it goes down. But if they say I can, it like stays, right, and the person can put more force and they won't put it down. Yes.
Okay. So my point is that lies. Okay. You know how the Bible says God cannot lie?
Yeah.
I just recently discovered that we cannot lie either. And then you're going to say, darling, what do you mean we cannot lie? People lie all the time. Well, hold on. We cannot lie because why is there lie detectors? Why do the lie detector works? Because your body doesn't want you to lie.
Oh my goodness.
We weren't made to lie.
Wow.
We were not made to lie. That's why when we lie, then the energy goes down. Okay. I said all that to say, wow, all the lies that we are carrying, my brother, and this is the good news, all the lies that we are carrying are taking away our energy. So when you uncover a lie and you become free from one lie that has 25 lies, the energy that all those lies were taking away from you, guess what happens to that energy?
It returns to you.
Comes back to you.
Oh.
It comes back to you.
My. How have we been, what was it, 6 months? And I'm just now realizing, you just said you just discovered it. Well, I did too. And everyone watching did too. You get power back. And that's, oh my gosh. So what is a difference? Okay, so you can't fix this with willpower, right?
Right. No.
Why is addressing these subconscious beliefs more powerful than relying on willpower? And that was my next question for you. Like, that was the next question formulating. And now you've just let us know exactly why. My mind is blown.
You're welcome. Gregory, listen, when I started working on my beliefs, I would sit down and just work and ask. And I was conscious that the beliefs didn't want to die. So I knew I was in for a fight. Like, I knew they weren't going to go down easy, right? So I would do it. And then when I would finish with one belief and I would get up, Gregory, I felt lighter. I would get up and I would start walking and I'll be like, I'm walking differently. I'm flowing, and it was the energy would come back to me, So, man, what was the last thing you said? The last question you asked right now, because it was a little bit from the past.
Why is it more important to address the subconscious beliefs, or more powerful? How is it more powerful to address subconscious beliefs than to rely on your willpower?
Okay, so this is what happens with the willpower. You can get yourself to do something. You know how they say, feel the fear and do it anyway, you can get yourself to do something and it can help you. But when you no longer have the beliefs that have been stopping you, then you can flow. Like you actually can do it without fighting.
Yeah.
Because you no longer, like, let's say you can have the belief pulling you back.
Yeah.
And you can push through it because we're strong. We can push through it and do the thing we wanted to do, right? But because these beliefs, they don't, if they don't go away, they'll keep on pulling you back. And that's why you can do something for a few days. Like you can exercise for a few days, but then you go back to not exercising. Or you can make a sale. You can make a sale, and then you go back to no sales, you know?
I mean, it just sounds like the reason behind self-sabotage. It's not self-sabotage. The self-sabotage in itself is having a belief, which is like a weed in your garden, suffocating or killing the flowers that are there because you don't even realize that you have this weed in your garden that, you know, you can try to put your willpower in. And I've heard some things where it's like, sometimes you have to act your way into right thinking. And yes, you can keep doing it and beating yourself into submission by continuing to do the thing until you believe it because you get results. But that's so hard.
You're working against.
Yeah, working against nature, essentially, right? Because you could just reprogram what's in your subconscious and then be able to go easily into the thing you want to do. Exactly. Or you can make it hard.
Exactly, now, because go ahead.
No, go ahead. This is you.
Remember what you were going to say. Because when you reprogram your subconscious mind, you deprogram, you take out the lies, right? So what happens is that we know the truth. We know the truth, Gregory. Like I can ask you and you know the truth. But what happens is that the truth is buried under the lies. So when we pull out the lies, then all you see is the truth. And then when the truth comes out, that is the guiding system. Right now, the lie is the guiding system, the strong one. Like you can read a book and you compare it to, you have a very strong tree that gives fruit. And then you're putting little plants of truth, little plants of truth around you. But the tree is stronger. You've had it longer for 30, 40 years, you know?
Wow. Yeah.
So it's going to win. But if you chop down that tree, like not chop down, if you pull out all the other roots of that tree, the trunk cannot stand without root. So the trunk falls with its fruits. And the fruits of the trees of lies are the bad actions that we are doing, which are giving us bad results. So it's working with nature. We're going to take out the lies so that the truth can be the guiding system in our lives. And when, for example, I was afraid of hearing a no. When I worked on the belief of being afraid of hearing a no, for like 2 years, I was trying to do something. I worked with my friend that I'm training to do belief reprogramming. She worked with me. I coached her to do it to me for 2 sessions. After the 2 sessions, I went into 6. I was trying to get something done, right? And I did 6 times what I was trying to do 1 time in 2 years. I did it 6 times in 1 morning. Something that took me 2 years to do once. So I did a 0 in 2 years. After the 2 sessions, I did it 6 times in 1 morning, like nothing, because the lies weren't there anymore. So willpower, yes, actions do help. You know, we're not going to sit around and do nothing, right?
Right.
But it's just working from the inside out. Our life is coming from our beliefs. And there's nothing, that's the way it is, you know?
Yeah. You will never behave inconsistently with something you believe. So is just one belief, like just programming one, is that impactful enough, or can that have a significant enough transformation to work on one?
Okay, so it depends what belief it is, because if I work on a belief, I would have to find what is causing the biggest havoc in your life, right? And then we can see if it's one. I'm sorry?
No, I'm like, what's the big domino? What's the thing that I can push over that'll knock so much over or knock the rest of it
Exactly.
down? Okay.
Exactly. So if we find that, as we find that one set, I would say 1, 2, or 3 beliefs, sometimes they work together, that can change your whole life. Because imagine how my 2 beliefs of not being beautiful and of men only loving beautiful women, and that I wasn't beautiful, right? That impacted me in so many ways. Impacted me, my 2 daughters, the 3 men of my life, everybody that was, it impacted so many things, those 3 beliefs, right? But
Mm,
I would prefer for people to have a few sessions, not only 1 or 2, but
yeah.
yes, one belief, 1, 2, or 3 beliefs can have a big impact in your life.
One,
It's
two,
what
or
I've
three.
seen.
I mean,
Remember when we were working on the belief of your father.
yeah.
Remember everything, what that cost you, the belief that you didn't want to be like him, and the beliefs that you had negatively about him, how that shaped your life.
Yeah. I actually, now that you say that, I just remember my wife looking me in the eyes, crying, saying, I I just want to say, like, basically, I just want to give you your flowers. You've been such a good dad lately. And I'm like, what have I done differently? I don't even, it's like it happened. I just got better at being there and being empathetic and caring and not coaching them, not always trying to teach them something, but just being there. Just being there for them and letting them be them and, being there with them through it. I think that's what she saw. And they're getting closer to me for that reason. But I didn't even see it. I just want to be there. And like, I don't want to change who they are or make them do something I think they should be doing or make them do anything. I just want to be there with them. Right. And sometimes that's all you need is for someone to be by your side that, just to be supportive. And
Yep.
so I've seen the value of just 2 beliefs because that's all we've got to work on was
Mm-hmm.
my father, I'm just like my father and I'm not good enough. Those 2 are big enough dominoes that a lot of things I remember after working on the father belief, I had an interview right after that.
I remember.
My brain felt like it was sitting underwater. Like I just felt so heavy, but light at the same time. Like we had done a lot of work. And
Mm,
I hopped on that interview and for some reason was able to just ace it. It was like, I don't know
yeah,
where that came from.
I remember.
And
Because
I
your
think,
energy, you got energy back to you. You were able to be, all of that strong pull of I don't want to be like my father, and that's so much, takes so much of my energy. That wasn't there anymore. So now you were free to just be.
yeah, wow, I didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course not, because I'm not the expert on belief reprogramming. I can catch someone and reframe something they've said to me in that moment. But
Mm-hmm. Yep.
that's like just chopping the weed off at the like that's the part you can see. I'm not
That's
digging out.
ER. That's ER. Like you're in the emergency room. Like this is an emergency. We're gonna deal with this right now. I'm more of the, let's change your health habits and your nutrition and you know what I'm saying. Like I'm more of the long term, and then
Yeah.
you're like this is needs to be addressed right now.
Mm. So I I want more people to work with you because I don't think that we realize just how deep this rabbit hole goes on beliefs. And so I want to ask, what can a client expect when working with you?
Okay, so I don't do a lot of talking at the beginning. I do a little bit of guiding so
Mm.
that they know what they got themselves into. Because yeah, and
Yeah.
listen, I pray the whole time that I'm doing a session. Like I
Mm.
pray because I feel like this is I need higher power help to do this because it's like I'm threading is the word, treading. I feel like I'm treading on like holy ground or like something so delicate, because imagine you have this that has shaped your life for 30, 40 years, and here come I, and I'm going to, move all this around and take this stuff out. And people usually, they say things they've never said before, and they hear themselves saying things that they believe that they didn't even know they believed.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's really tough. So it's really tough. It's not soft and easy. A lot of times, I have to pre-frame the person and say, listen, do not judge the things you're saying. We're just taking them out because they're in there. They're not going to go away by ignoring them. So I have to be very delicate and very like have empathy and empathetic and guide the person through the process so that they feel it is safe to take this stuff out, because it's better out than in.
Absolutely.
And once we take it out, people usually, people cry, but a lot of times people cry because they feel like, oh my God, I went to therapy for years and they didn't take this out. I didn't know, so they cry because of that. But at the same time, people cry because they're like, wow, like I see something I didn't see before. And now it's like they see the light,
Yeah. Yeah.
And it does feel really good afterwards. But during the process, it's very like, sometimes if the person gets annoyed because they're like, where are we getting to? And then I'm like, I just need one more. Tell me one more. And then that's where the stuff comes out, So it is a difficult process. Yeah. It's very challenging, but at the end is very worth it. Very worth it.
I can attest to that. It gets heavy. It gets frustrating. And I think beliefs are literally it's the root, the core of who we are. And when you try to shake someone's belief system, this is why people don't talk about money, politics, or religion in public, because people have such strongholds around what they have either learned growing up, what beliefs were instilled in them, or what their life experience has shaped them to be. And when you go to shake that up, that's not pretty at all.
Because you think, it's amazing what you said right now. It's a very important point. People think, even if they never said it out loud, people think they are their thoughts. People think that what they think is who they are. I remember I had a guy that I worked with him. And when I said to him, do you think you are your thoughts? I asked this to every person. Do you think you are your thoughts? A lot of people say yes. A lot of people say definitely. A lot of people say, I'm not sure, But this guy, he was like, of course, my thoughts. And it took me like a session. I had to focus on that.
Yeah.
It took me a whole session for him to understand that he was not his thoughts. And he was like, well, if I'm not my thoughts, then who am I? And it was like, oh my God, then, like, what now, kind of thing. But then at the end of like the second session, you could just see this smile on his face. And he's like, I feel so great. Like, I feel so, I'm not my thoughts, which that means then I'm not my mistakes and I'm not my past things that I've done. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it was like eye opening, and just 2 sessions. That guy has never been the same. It's just 2 sessions.
Wow.
I forgot what we were saying.
So we know the cost, or we know the value of addressing these limiting beliefs. What do you think it's costing people to not address them right now?
Well, one example, for example, when you believe you're not good enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which almost everybody has that one. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So when you believe you're not good enough, that's costing you the right relationship. Hold on. Do you still see me, or hold on?
You're still here.
Okay.
I still see
you. All right.
Yeah.
I just had my thing on the phone. So imagine if it costs you the right relationship, if it costs you a divorce, all the cost of the divorce could be because you believe you're not good enough. all the
Wow.
cost of the 10 years of the wrong marriage or the wrong relationship because you felt nobody's going to love me, so let me just take this person even though this person mistreats me. Like all those years, put a price on it, you know? Or let's say your belief doesn't let you become rich and you're really trying. You pay coaches, you pay 20,000, 50,000, you're paying coaches, you're spending time, and you still believe you don't want to be rich because you know you're going to change. Then that belief is costing you 50, 60, 100, 1,000, you know, hundred of thousands, whatever. Everything that you are doing right now, you can put a price on it.
Wow.
If a belief costs you 5 years of your life, how much is 5 years of your life worth to you? You know, if it costs you your relationship with your daughters or with your sons or with your children, how much is that worth to you? You know, so it's incalculable, I would say. Beliefs cause so much damage that I don't think I can put a price on how much damage a belief can cause you. Pretty much.
You know, I heard something from our mentor, Myron Golden, what it costs us to not know how to make $1 million a year is the difference between what we make right now and $1 million a year. So being unemployed at the moment, it's costing me $1 million a year not to know, but I know. And so now it's costing me to believe that I'm not worth it or to believe that I can't do it. It's costing me $1 million a year right now to not do it.
Exactly.
So,
Because it's not what you don't know. Because you know, for example, we know what to do, right?
Yeah.
But it's what we know that just ain't so. It's what's costing us. and you know that's not my quote, but I forgot who said it. But I think it was Mark Twain.
And it's just it's funny because it's true, but it's not funny, right? Now
we laugh because we laugh at everything. Like we laugh at everything. That's why we're laughing.
At this point, you know, all the awareness of what we've been doing and how much it's been costing us, it's just like, and then finding out that it was so simple to get through, it's like if you don't laugh, you'll cry.
Let's laugh so we don't cry.
Exactly. You've already talked about how you've used belief reprogramming to achieve the success on your own, but I want you to, like, specifically, how have you used this to achieve success on your own?
Okay, so how the work that I've done has helped me to make extreme changes in my life, you know. Yeah. Financial decisions that I would have never thought I would make in my life, you know. Putting a price on my service that I had never done before. Just feeling okay with doing things, feeling free to do things even if they're not perfect. Like that was really hard for me, you know. And then I saw how I'm like, oh my God, look, I did that and I didn't care. Look, that I didn't care. I did it and I didn't care. Oh my God, how did that happen? But it was because the beliefs weren't there anymore, you know.
Wow.
And putting boundaries that I never put before, you know, being more authentic, having a better relationship with my daughters, especially my big daughter, my 20-year-old, you know. So it's just getting better.
Showing up on camera.
Exactly.
I've seen you more on camera since Offer Mastery Live than I think anyone's ever seen of you.
Exactly. Even Offer Mastery Live, right before Offer Mastery Live, I had worked on some beliefs with my friend that I'm training to do it. See, because I'm going to do a certification. She's going to be the first one that has it. I had done beliefs right before, and we went to Offer Mastery Live. And you know how I took that thing like if it was for me. I was on stage twice. I was on the camera once. And it was like, people thought I was a VIP. Like, it was crazy. I shook Byron's hand on stage.
I thought you were a VIP, seriously. And when I was going to bring up this picture just to show, like, you being on that stage, I think, you know, that we can quantum leap. Sometimes just being somewhere, even if we're not doing anything or we don't have a title, sometimes people just seeing us on a stage changes everything. you being on that stage, I believe, was like the beginning of a paradigm shift for you. Because would you have ever gone on a stage before that?
Yes, I had, because I had, it's, you don't know this about me, but I don't know how much time we have left. So I
Ah,
know.
as much as it takes.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to say this quickly. So you don't know this about me, which I just rediscovered when
Hmm.
I was little. Okay. So my whole work of business growth and um, my framework for business growth and everything that has to do with belief reprogramming, I had that when I was a child, like when I was little. It was part of my life, right? So I
Hmm.
was very, very different. But what happened one time was that I hit a girl. Like in kindergarten, I hit another child. I was upset and I hit her, and she had a bloody face.
Oh,
Everybody went to her. Yeah, everybody, because I was a very strong person. Okay. So I had this little boyfriend in kindergarten, and she was trying to take him away from me. She was a new girl. Okay. So I hit her, and everybody went to her. And you're like, Darling, why are you telling me this story? I'm gonna tell you in a moment. When everybody went to her, and I stayed by myself in a corner, everybody was with her. I was by myself. I had just hit her. I went blind for a few seconds, but to me it was minutes. And I said to God, I said, God, please forgive me. I will never hurt anyone else in my life. I
hmm.
promise you, I will never hurt anyone else in my life. So then my eyesight came back. I just
Wow.
discovered that that was a turning point in my life where I shut down my strength. I shut it down. I hid it. I hid my strength. So then I became this soft person that had no strength to me, right? Because I didn't want to hurt anybody. So that happened all the way till I was 15, and I got baptized. When
Hmm.
I got baptized and I gave my heart to God, what I thought I was giving my heart to Christ, and He was going to be the rule of my life, I changed my identity. And my identity became I am a daughter of God. I am a representative of God on earth. So I became powerful when I was
Hmm.
15. And I became a missionary. I went places, like dangerous places by myself. I preached like in front of hundreds of people. I did all kinds of things. I went places nobody wanted to go to. So I became like how do you say, unstoppable.
Wow.
After I gave my heart to God, I started reading the Bible. I changed my whole identity, right? But then
Yeah.
when I got married, then all the beliefs that I had down there that didn't have a chance to come out because the situation was not there for those beliefs to come out. The beliefs came out, and I totally, it was life changing. So then I went back to becoming like nothing, because
Wow.
I was like nothing works. This is not working. My life is, falling into crumbles, whatever. So I believe, so I got away from God. I got mad at God. I didn't know what was happening. So I blamed God because I was in this terrible marriage, not because the man was terrible, but because I felt terrible within me in the relationship that I was in. It was not his fault, but it was all happening inside of me, and I didn't know what was happening inside. So I got away from God, and for like 10 years I closed the Bible. I didn't open it. So, but my point is that before that, from 15 to 23, I was like, anything I put my mind to do it, I would do it. I would be on stages. I would go to dangerous places by myself, like all kinds of crazy things. But then I got shut down. I got away from God, and so then all these years coming back to God. So about 7 years ago, I got baptized again. I had another experience that helped led me to God again. So
Hmm.
then the journey started of self-discovery of, okay, so what's happening? What happened to me? You know? Like, for me to figure out what happened to me, and then God has been guiding me on the truth, the truth about this, the truth about that. And so my identity, I feel, Gregory, I'm not totally yet who I truly am 100%, but I feel like every time I get rid of the lies, my energy returns to me, you know, and I am gaining that identity of the daughter of God, that extension of God, that who we truly are. We are incredible human beings. We're made in the image of God. We can do anything we set our minds to, but we have to believe it. If we don't believe it, then it's not going to happen. That's why the place with the most, you know, the richest place on earth is the graveyard, because so many people died without believing who they truly were, you know? And that's the journey that we're in right now.
And, you know, it makes me think, you know, when Jesus performed miracles, he never healed. He healed what they thought was the problem, but then he healed what the actual problem was, which was their faith, right? So faith is at the core, belief is at the core of everything. And maybe that's why it's stressed so much in the Bible. Do not be afraid, be strong, be courageous, have faith. Anything you ask for in faith, you will receive. Like, it's so simple, it hurts, right? But simple isn't easy. Just because it's simple doesn't mean that it's easy. So from being a missionary and getting out there to getting into a place that unveiled all of those limiting beliefs, to coming back and running away from God after that, to coming back, like, I found the value of contrast. Like, sometimes you don't know how good you have it until you lose it all. I feel like it's something that has to happen for us to appreciate what we do have. And
100%.
So
100%.
Again, I want anyone watching this to come and work with you. I want your inbox to be flooded with people that need this belief reprogramming. How do you guarantee lasting results for your clients? I think I know the answer to this, and I can't wait for our third session, but I want to hear how you can get lasting results for them so that they know beyond the shadow of a doubt that when they come to you, they're going to break through that barrier and they're going to get to live the life that they need. They were meant to live. And I say need. You need to live this life that is before you, because life is short. I hate to break it to us, but the only way out of here is death. Like, we're all going to die at some point. We live as if that life is here forever. But if we knew that one day we would die, we would live the lives we have here a lot differently than we do. We wouldn't procrastinate 1 minute of it, because we never know when we can be taken out. And so it is imperative that we take these roots that are producing the bad fruits and dig them up so that we can actually live and thrive. So what is your process for making sure that they see lasting results?
You're going to love this, because I'm loving just thinking about it. So, people are hypnotized. I am unhypnotizing you.
That's good.
I am not hypnotizing people. I am, is it unhypnotizing or dishypnotizing? I am undoing the hypnotism.
You're waking them up. You're snapping them out of it.
Exactly. It's like the Matrix, okay? So I am unplugging you. Is that how is it unplugging you from the Matrix? Yeah. Okay, so once you see it, you cannot unsee it.
Oh, boy. Is
okay.
That the truth? Yeah.
So once, imagine I pull the tree with the roots. Can that tree, plant itself and put all the roots where they were before?
No. It's as above, so below. There's the phototropic aspect of a tree, and there's the gravitrophic, and it has to grow down and build its root system before it can grow out of the ground, because that supports it. But if you were to take it out in full, what you see above is below. So if you pull out a root, that branch can't be supported anymore because its root system is gone.
All the roots are out. Let's say all the roots are out. Let's say the trunk falls. All the trees, they no longer have life. I mean, all the fruits no longer have life, right? Mm-hmm. So they're not going to put themselves back. They can't. Now, why do I say people need more than one session, more than two sessions? Why they should have, 6 to 12 sessions would be ideal, because there could be other things. Everybody's different. Somebody with one session, I have a friend that in one session that I did with her, she used to get migraines, every other weekend she would get migraines. When something would happen, she stopped getting those migraines. She fixed her relationship with her ex-husband, with her mother, with her stepfather. It's just one session. And that has lasted her for years and years and years and years, right? But some people might have other beliefs that are also hurting you in that same area of life. But the ones that we pull out, they are out. Because you're unhypnotized from that hypnotism, Like I had this lady, she believed that she was worthless. Not that she was not good enough. She believed she was worthless. And she had, I think it was like 35 reasons for believing she was worthless. Wow. This was my toughest session that I've ever done. And I prayed more than ever. And if I tell you, after that, it was like she was hypnotized to believe all those reasons. And they all sounded true. Once she saw that they were lies, they cannot convince her anymore. Like once you see somebody's a liar, they're gonna have to take years to unconvince you that they're a liar, right? Yeah. So when you see a lie, you already know it's a lie. So that's what caused the long-term effects of you being free from that,
Wow. This has been powerful. I want to keep going. We end up talking for 2 hours at a time every time we talk. Yeah. But I want to end on this note. Thank you for finally, we finally got you on the podcast. But I have a new tradition I'm starting. This is a question that I'm going to ask every guest from here on out. If you could challenge everyone to question one belief, in your specific case, one belief, one thing about themselves or the world, what would it be and why?
First, my first thought would be the belief of I'm not good enough. But a lot of people talk about that already, right? So I think going beyond that one, more importantly, would be the belief that your feelings come from what's happening outside of you. That the things that are happening outside of you are causing the way you're feeling. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Like the belief that the way I feel is because of what you're saying, or the way I feel is because of what's happening. That anything outside of us is causing the way we're feeling inside of us. That belief.
So a belief that we are victims of our circumstances and that we have no control. So questioning that, essentially, so they regain control. That internal locus rather than external locus of control.
Instead of reacting, to everything that people do or don't do or say or don't say, or you know what I'm saying? To know that and an
ability to respond to that differently. That is beautiful, Dalin. Well,
thank you.
I think that we should announce our workshop that we're putting together, the belief reprogramming workshop. We haven't set a date on that yet, but I feel like we should just make a date today.
And what about the inner circle idea, like a temporary inner circle? I don't know how many months we would go, but
we've got the Facebook greatest group ever. If you want to join
it would be
on Facebook, we can resume the weekly group coaching, and just do a group reprogramming on I'm not good enough, or what's happening to me, or what other people say to me is the reason for my my actions.
So it would
No.
be self-image, because it's very important. We're the drivers of the Maserati, and we think we're driving a golf cart, right? But we are the drivers. So working on the self-image, the self-identity, and then the biggest problem of a lot of people, money or finances. So it would be self, and it would be money or finances, is what I'm thinking. For the group coaching. Self and wealth. Sounds good.
Okay. Well, when we have more on that, we will announce it. Where can they find you, Dalin, if they want to work with you?
Okay, so my name, Dalin Espinal. I am on Facebook like that, and on Instagram. I'm in Instagram. I'm putting like Spanish and English, but I'm thinking I'm gonna divide. I need to figure out how to do 2 Instagrams, one in Spanish, one in English. You know how I need a little help with that. But it's Dalin Espinal in TikTok. Dalin Espinal is just my name. You find me like that. And in
if
YouTube.
They didn't delete TikTok in this craziness of TikTok being banned and coming back from the dead.
Exactly.
Wow, there's just so much mess with that right now. All right, so you heard it, Dalin Espinal on all platforms. I'm sure it's a unique name. I've never seen it before.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on, Dalin. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for the people watching this on the replay. If you had any questions, if you have any comments, please be sure to drop those in the comments. And until then, continue to question everything, because when you ask enough questions, the only thing that can remain is the answer.